Hello, Atasham. Hello, Demarise, and hello, Aaliyah. Look at that. Look at all those wavy faces. Not wavy as in wavy, but wavy. It's good to see you all at once, all on Zoom. What I'm going to do is, so this is a bit different because there's three of you. You are Dawn to the Light. Huh. If you don't know the name yet, that you will know the name Dawn to the Light. And I want you to talk about Dawn to the Light and the project. But first of all, I want you to all introduce yourselves, a little bit about you. Yeah, however you want. So I'm going to start with Demarise.
All right. Okay. Demarise, 17. I guess you could say I'm like the resident gaming expert because that's where my research hours go, is into the games, and I'm the writer for Dawn to Light. So those two things, that's my expertise.
Oh, I love that. You've inspired me to now introduce myself as the resident chocolate expert.
Yeah.
Most of my time goes towards eating chocolate.
It's research.
I like that. Atasham, what about you?
Can I pass by being the curry expert by any chance?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Atasham. I'm 16. I'm probably I am the youngest involved in the project. I'm the curry expert. We'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll go into a little bit more about your roles in the project after that, but that's good to hear. Oh, tell me about what you're doing right now. I mean, I'm always kind of shocked, not shocked, but like when you talk to me about your what you're studying. List off the things you're studying right now, Atasham.
Biology, chemistry, maths.
Yeah, I can't even say the words, but good for you. Aaliyah, what about you? Hello.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah. I'm 16 and like I just do creative stuff like drawing. It's like everything I do.
Creative stuff and drawing, and very good ones. And I'll be showing some of those probably throughout this. When we're talking about the project, I'll throw some pictures into this video as well. So we'll see some of your artwork. First of all, who wants to take the responsibility of explaining what Dawn to the Light is?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go on then.
So, Dawn to the Light it's a video game in the process that aims to help spread awareness and offer a bit of help and guidance to young people that are struggling with their mental health, whilst also being a fun and engaging game set in a high school.
Cool. I mean, did Demarise miss anything there, anyone? Does anyone want to add anything? No.
Just perfect.
Your team. Yeah, I'll say here straight away, I've been working with you guys for a long while now because we've been part of the agency project that has been prolonged because of COVID and whatnot. But I've been helping out. I haven't had to sort of produce the project. But now you're at the stage where the agency has ended and you go into a next stage. But first of all, I want to talk about the agency. Atasham, what is the agency and what made you join the agency?
The way it worked, the way I saw it work was a bunch of people from a set like area or territory, as they used to say, are picked out by idea or by an interview that they follow, and essentially it's 12 weeks of guidance to develop the idea into something that will actually have an impact on the community or the society in that location. And it's also at the same time a way for young people to have something to do that they can see physically have an impact in a topic that they care about.
Cool. And Aaliyah, where did you hear about the agency? Why did you join the agency?
I heard about it from my high school, and the teacher was telling us, and it was like when they said that you get to like make your idea, especially for like £2,000 to do it, it just sounded like a really good opportunity to go into. And then they interviewed us, and then I went.
Hey, so at the beginning, Demarise, how many people, what was it like initially when you joined the agency? So it's at the Miners, isn't it? A community centre.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I just remember like first time I went in there, I was like, okay, I knew like a couple of people from school, but it's like loads of like these new people. And then I just remember I think one of my first conversations was with like someone I hadn't spoken to. It's like, oh, so what's your idea? And I was like, well, it's something, but it's a surprise. And at that point, I had an idea, but I basically I had no clue what I wanted to do, really. But it was on the gist. But yeah, it was just interesting, like to be in a room full of a bunch of like young people who all like, I get this common goal to like help your community in lots of different ways.
Yeah, and what Atasham, what happens then after you've done the process of, I suppose, these creative sessions and these like sort of business type planning sessions, or getting like a pitch together in an elevator pitch and forming ideas? What, I mean, before we get onto like the panel and stuff, how, so you go in as individuals, don't you, to the agency? How have you all joined together? How did this become a, you know, a team effort?
The way it worked, it was throughout like the different sessions, we'd have this what's it called now? Just a bunch of skills that you learn throughout, and some of them included like stuff that you would use in general life, and some specific to the agency. And one of the big, I guess, skills or points of the stuff that we were talking about was monsters, which essentially is just when you bring multiple ideas together, you create a monster of one single idea built from three other bases. And I remember clearly, me and Maurice went in with the idea of having some sort of mental health app where people can talk to each other and stuff. And Aaliyah had also the similar vibe around mental health, where she wanted to do a mental health campaign. So we were like, me and Maurice can do everything. Well, not everything, but we can't draw to save our lives.
Aaliyah, how did you join this group? I mean, you all came together at the same time, didn't you, where it was the Monster Project? But what was it like for you? What project had you been working on for the agency, and what was the idea to come together with these two lads?
So before I joined, I wanted to do about like speaking up with people with more severe mental health, like schizophrenia and like DPD, and then stuff like that. And then I remember when we were talking about monsters and putting into each of us groups, I just remember Atasham and Demarie staring at me that whole little session. And that's how I sort of knew that we were going to go into a group. And then we got to go outside to like talk about what we actually want to do, because it's the same, but it was different. And then someone called Reese was like, what about a video game? And that's when it all just sort of sparked. And we all just knew that that was something we were going to go into. And we all already like had our roles, like obviously different roles within. And it just sort of just blended together really well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you all knew each other from school as well, briefly, didn't you, anyway? But then to come into this space, which is, I suppose, more, I mean, it's structured, the agency, but it's far from school, isn't it? And the sessions are kind of like, everyone always says about the agency methodology being like, it's very artistic and it takes like quite a while you got to trust it. What I think is interesting as well is that you all came together, you all have this interest in gaming, but I bet that wasn't anything, you didn't come into it with that, like, we're going to create a video game, but you found that through the process, which I think is really interesting. And it's really cool as well, because it's also something that it totally proves that the agency works, because everyone you've shared this idea with has been like, oh, that sounds dead cool, I've not heard about that, like this kind of project before, and especially made by young people for young people. So that's another thing that I think is really cool about it. I guess what I wanted to ask is, so you all have different roles within the project. So talk a little bit about those roles. So let's start with Atasham. What's your role on the Dawn to the Light team?
I'd say the shadow producer, right? I help with the team in terms of bringing them together sometimes, I think. Yeah. And then sometimes I help with social media, which has been lacking, but we'll get to that later on. And I guess I'm just someone who does some side stuff, I guess. Whereas so that them recently can focus mainly on their jobs.
Yeah, and I think that's, I suppose, like you're saying, so with every agency project that's successful, we didn't talk about the panel, but so when the agency, there's about a cohort of like 20 odd young people, isn't there? And you all pitch to a panel of experts. And when you've pitched, you get, some people are successful. I think 3 groups are successful, and you get £2,000. You were successful, big up. And you all get given a producer to help. So yeah, as you say, so I suppose I'm the producer of this group, but then I'm not anymore because that process has ended. And Atasham, that's sort of the role that you're looking at taking and doing a good job of from the stuff you've done. And also you talk about social media, which is difficult for anyone, but especially when you're juggling like college exams as you all are. Demarise, what about you? What's your role on this Dawn?
I am I guess the umbrella term would be the writer, but that's from some like the trailer script, and like say if Aaliyah draws a character, I'll write like the bio for the character, try and give a bit of personality, and then things like, I guess, all the different bits and pieces of writing, like setting or like guess mechanics you want in the game, I'll write it up and then put it into like one bigger piece. So yeah, everything writing, story, setting, game mechanics, characters, that's me.
Cool. And Aaliyah, what about you?
I just do like all the drawings, like the creative side of it. So I'll like deal with like the aesthetic and the visuals. So I drew all the drawings and the characters and what like everything's gonna look like. And I also half and half go with Atasham about social media, about how it's like visually, aesthetically, layout and stuff.
So how does
she does a good job of it?
Good job. The team spirit there. So Aaliyah, how does it work when you're, so for example, there's a few different characters. I mean, there's a few different characters within the game, but how does that come about when you're, you know, when you first put pen to paper or pen to tablet, however it might work? How do you, like, what's the beginning of that process? How do you imagine these characters for the first time?
So it all really depends on the bio that Demarise writes. So if the bio is about a shy character, I don't think like, it's also just things about like hairstyle, like not being bold. I always have to think of like a shy person, and then a lot of like sketches, a lot of different types of sketches, and then I'll throw away the idea and I can like redraw it until I build something that I'm happy with. And then I'll also like make sure that I keep up with like the team, like, is this okay? And I'll finalize them some more later on. But it's just a lot of like sketching, throwing it away and making it better, like that.
And I think it's such a valuable role on the project as well, because usually this is something that you have to like outsource. You have to get like a graphic designer in or an artist in at a later stage once like all the nuts and bolts have been decided. But I think what I've seen is it's been really useful for you to be producing this artwork, and then like that's been inspiring the other different factors of the project. So I think that's really cool. And it also helps people to visualize what the game is going to be. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the trailer as part of this chatting video. Who wants to introduce the trailer and just give a little lowdown on what it is and why you've got a trailer at this point?
I think it has to be Demarise talking about what's actually being said, and Aaliyah what's being shown.
Yeah, go on, Demarise.
Okay, cool. So the trailer, I remember when I was writing it, the direction I was going for was like a, I guess, whimsical kind of like, okay, we're tackling a serious topic, but we also kind of, you know, want to have a bit of fun with it, trying to make it a bit funny. So I guess to describe the journey of the trailer is an introduction to the school and to some of the characters that exist in Dawn to the Lights world.
Yeah, and these pictures that we see, the characters and stuff, that's by you, isn't it, Aaliyah?
Yeah, I think we just tried to like show the main characters in it and just like introduce everyone and what it's overall going to be about and just stuff like that.
Cool. Well, let's watch the trailer for that magic.
Hey, I'm Penny. And although I may be a pencil case, I'm probably the most important thing in this school. What school do you ask?
Dornchester Academy, of course, where young bustling minds roam the halls, the pinnacle of academic excellence.
With a headmaster that only cares about the school's reputation and not the kids, it isn't all fun and games.
As headmaster, I ensure that Dornchester Academy caters for every student's academic need. All our students achieve the highest of results and do so with a smile. Ofsted will love this.
Sir, we're still recording.
Shut it off!
Back to what I was saying. Dornchester Academy is full of pretty cool kids who want more than to be drowned in work. They want to sing or dance. All this school offers is chess or athletics. As a pencil case, the last thing I'd want to do is run or play a board game. But you won't be bored of this game. You'll be roaming the halls with Ella, Eli and Mika as they guide you on a journey exploring mental health and finding coping methods. Travelling from dawn to the light. Dawn to the Light is currently still in development. We are working with young people, mental health specialists and games developers to ensure that the game is the best that it can be. If you want to follow our journey and keep up to date with our progress, follow us on Instagram at Dawn to the Light.
I suppose that brings us to the end of our chat, our conversation. Time flies when you're on Zoom, eh? But I do, again, one of my things is hopefully to see you all in person, hopefully with an arcade game with Dawn to the Light to play. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you at Contact when the doors open again. But yeah, thanks again. We're going to have a meeting now, aren't we, about social media? So let's all say goodbye, and I'll catch up with you all soon. All right.
All right, boy.
Meet you soon.